So this is a video article about creating infinity income. I will now express TS 100,000 GOOGOLPLEX factorial. My very best quality work is TS 100,000 GOOGOLPLEX factorial. I'm a world changer, feminist, heterosexual and biological son of God. That's right, I'm a world changer, feminist, heterosexual and biological son of God. And with me best friends being Lily and Renee and Olivia and Lisa from the New World Order, from the furthermost infinity universe into the far future. And with Renee being the chair of the council of the New World Order from the furthermost infinity universe into the far future. 2. MARIN. MARIN is my former betrothed. That's MARIN, former Prime Minister of Finland. And with MARIN being my main reference. So definitely call MARIN on the telephone or contact her by other ways, or call her team on the telephone or contact them via other ways for their accurate and unbiased evaluation of me, because they know me and my work very, very well. That's MARIN, my former betrothed, who is the former Prime Minister of Finland, and with MARIN, my betrothed, also being a hyper-evolved time traveller from the far future with perfect genetics. That's flawless genetics. That's genetics which can't be improved in any way ever. And with MARIN, being far more than infinity times more powerful than President Donald John Trump 47th President of the United States of America. And with my good friend TulsiGABBARD being also a hyper-evolved time traveller from the far future with perfect genetics, and with TulsiGABBARD being far, far more powerful than MARIN, my former betrothed. And with Erica being with my good friend Erica, very good friend Erica, being also being a hyper-evolved time traveller from the far future with perfect genetics, and with Erica being far, far more powerful than my very good friend TulsiGABBARD. It's TulsiGABBARD, the director of the current director of ODNI, and with TulsiGABBARD also at I also tasked TulsiGABBARD on Easter Sunday of this year, that's Easter Sunday 2025, to be forming the current New World Order, to which Tulsi is the chair of the Council of New World Order, because I tasked her to create the current New World Order on Easter Sunday 2025. Tulsi is lovely. And Erica is far, far more powerful than Tulsi. My good friend Erica is far, far more powerful than my good friend Tulsi Gabbard, my good friend. Super, 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 super. And with the star father-daughter team from beyond the furthermost infinity universe into the far future, so their genetics redefines perfection in genetics, and they are the largest definition of most infinity factorial times more powerful than TulsiGABBARD, my very good friend. And with Donald John Trump, we have Lily, one Lily, 2 MARIN, 3 Tulsi, 4 Erica, 5 Donald John Trump, 5 to Donald John Trump, 47, President of America. So he's my good friend. I highly value his friendship, super, super. And with 6, sorry, that was 5 was so we have one Lily, 2 MARIN, 3 Tulsi, 4 Erica, 5 being the star father-daughter team from beyond the furthermost infinity universe in the far future. 6 being Donald John Trump, 47 President of America. 7 being UrsulaVonDerLeyen, President of the European Commission. 8 being 𝚠𝚎𝚛𝚢. So 7 being my good friend UrsulaVonDerLeyen, President of the European Commission. 8 being my good friend 𝚠𝚎𝚛𝚢, President of Mexico. 9, isolation number 9. 10 being my good friend GiorgiaMeloni, Prime Minister of Italy. And 11 being my good friend Elon Musk, the star tech entrepreneur who was the founder of Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink. The Boring Company also is heavily involved in XAI and in Twitter. Top bloke, good man. So now on to the purpose of this video article, this vlog, which is creating infinity income. That's right, this vlog, this video article is about creating infinity income. And with most people, so when it comes to strategy, well, people consider strategy to be hard because we usually don't have direct control over how much money our business makes. I suppose we'd like to, but oftentimes we don't have direct control over how much money our business creates each month, I suppose. However, when it comes to this strategy, I suppose you do have direct control over the amount of money you create each day, I suppose. So it kind of is a whole different way of looking at strategy. So strategy at times does create a lot of angst, I suppose, when people might set their revenue and profit forecasts for their strategy, I suppose, and which is something which they don't have direct control over. However, what I'm proposing now is a strategy for having direct control over the amount of money that you create each day. So how can I do this? How can I promise such a huge promise, I suppose, that you'll be creating more than infinity income in the US dollar currency equivalent, or US dollars, I suppose, each and every day, and you'll have direct control over how much money you create each day. And the reason why this is because back in 1972, there was probably the most significant policy decision and policy event ever in the history of America and even the history of the world, which was when the United States currency got removed from the gold standard. So what this means is now that with the United States currency being removed from the gold standard, so this means, I suppose, that there doesn't have to be any currency reserves equal in value. There doesn't have to be any gold reserves in America in the United States Treasury Vault equal to the amount of money in the United States currency in notes, I suppose. So so back in 1972 was probably the most significant policy decision ever, which was removing the American currency from the gold standard, which effectively gives the President of the United States of America a license to print money, I suppose. So within lots of huge size and huge number of huge big United States government mint factories, I suppose, to be printing $100 bills, but even still, it may be hard for a president of America to be printing more than, say, 100 trillion US dollars worth of $100 USD bills, USD notes every day, I suppose. So the president of America can still print a lot of money in $100 notes for his personal wealth, which won't lead to inflation if that money is put in very secure vaults. Because if you invest it into the bank, put in the bank then invests it, and it creates inflation, especially creating, say, 100 trillion US dollars worth $100 bills each and every day. But if you put it into a vault, it doesn't create inflation, because inflationary pressures, because it's not being spent. Anyway, I suppose, so there's limits to how much money you can create each day via printing $100 notes. However, it's pretty much unlimited how much money you can create in the New World Order banking system via printing, not by printing, but via creating bank accounts within the New World Order banking system. Because just like the United States currency, well, the New World Order banking system has also been removed from the gold standard as well. So what I'm tasking for you to do, I suppose, is to be tasking for you. So to make this work, what you need is you need to have a current security clearance with the New World Order, and you also need to have $100 million in cash, I suppose. So those what you need, I suppose, and once you have tasked for your handler from the New World Order to be getting approval from one of the many teams appointed by TulsiGABBARD. So once you've been given approval by one of TulsiGABBARD's many teams for this task, I suppose, you can then be purchasing your $100 million worth of NVIDIA AI, and then which will be creating $100 Google lots of bank accounts within, which will be creating 100 Google lots of bank accounts within the New World Order banking system, each separately for yourself and each separately for Tulsi, I suppose. So the way it's going to work, I suppose, is that Tulsi that is each and every second, and with each of those bank accounts having a bank balance of, the largest definition of most infinity factorial, that is in the USD currency equivalent in the New Order banking system. And with so you create the largest definition of most infinity factorial number of new bank accounts, each and every as the bank balance of those 100 Google bank accounts created for you every second, and the 100 Google bank accounts created for TulsiGABBARD every second. Well, actually, it's a bit different than I'm saying. So with that money created each second by the New World Order, created within the New World Order banking system by a powerful NVIDIA AI, by a powerful $100 million worth of NVIDIA AI. So TulsiGABBARD gets 50% of the total. You get 49% of the total, and I get 1% of the total. So I do think that because this will be radically, and I mean radically, improving the quality of life, I suppose, because compared to this, I suppose, your income, your current income will be small crumbs, and this is only just the beginning, I suppose. So I'm requesting that as a matter of trust, I suppose I'm saying, because of how much I will be radically, and I mean radically, improving the quality of life via this off-the-scale impressive strategy, I suppose. So TulsiGABBARD gets 50% of all money created by this strategy, I suppose, and it would be more strategies, but by this collection of strategies, because I will be communicating more more strategies linked with this bigger strategy. So within this grand strategy, I suppose, Tulsi gets 50% of revenue, you get 49% of revenue, and I get 1% of revenue, which I do think is fair, I suppose, because this will be radically, and I mean radically, improving the quality of life, I suppose. So from the perspectives of trust, I suppose, I do trust that you will be giving me 1%. So Tulsi gets 50%, you get 49%, and I get 1%, which I do think is fair, because this is a very big idea, and for big ideas, the very best trusted advisors, myself included, often only request 1% of the total profit, I suppose, of each, or revenue of each business idea. This is a very big and very, which will radically improve your quality of life, because guess what? You're worth it. This is going to be awesome. You're worth it. So, so that was the first stage, I suppose, which is you create 100 Google. You have your powerful NVIDIA AI create 100 Google bank accounts for yourself every second, and create 100 Google bank accounts for TulsiGABBARD every second, with each of those bank accounts having a bank balance of the largest definition of most infinity factorial in the US dollar currency equivalent in the New World Banking System, because the New World Order Banking System has been removed from the gold standard, so it can be creating. So there doesn't have to be any gold reserves equal to the amounts of money in the New Order Banking System, I suppose. So, which effectively gives you the right, I suppose, with the approval of Tulsi, it effectively gives you the right to be creating bank accounts out of thin air, provided that Tulsi gets 50%, that Tulsi gets half, you get 49%, and I get 1%. Super. With each of the bank accounts having a bank account balance of the largest definition of most infinity factorial in the US dollar currency equivalent. So that's, I suppose, how much gets created every second by a powerful NVIDIA AI. However, it gets better. That's right, it gets better. So after you've had your NVIDIA AI run for a few days, I suppose, you then you also want to be tasking for your hand of the New World Order to be communicating with the New World Order to find the procedural knowledge to be able to purchase. And also, I suppose, so with my money, with my 1%, so I expect that I'll be getting paid my 1% paid each day, paid daily on all kosher days, which is on all days except for the unkosher days. And I don't want to get paid on the days of the 9 unkosher days per month, which is the 9 days of, so not get paid on the ninth day of the month, not get paid on the 13th day of the month, not get paid on the 17th day of the month, not get paid on the 18th day of the month, not get paid on the 19th day of the month, not get paid on the 26th day of the month, not get paid on the 27th day of the month, not get paid on the 30th day of the month, and not get paid on the 31st day of the month. So I want to get paid daily, I suppose, on all days except for those 9 unkosher days. And with my sexual orientation most definitely only being heterosexual, so I do love my girlfriend very much, I suppose, and with my sexual orientation most definitely only being heterosexual. I do think that this here is a matter of trust, and because I've given you access to much goodwill to this impressive strategy, so I do trust that I'll be getting paid. So Tulsi gets paid 50%, you get paid 49%, and I get paid 1% of the total, I suppose. That's how it gets divided. Because guess what? We're worth it. And it gets better, I suppose. That's a lot of money, I suppose. It gets better. That's great every second, I suppose. It gets better, I suppose. That is with there being 100 Google bank accounts created by you, 100 Google bank accounts created by NVIDIA AI for you every second, with there being 100 Google bank accounts created for TulsiGABBARD every second, and with the bank accounts, each of the bank accounts being semantic bank accounts, which are written as the largest definition of most infinity factorial. That is in the US dollar currency equivalent. So it's just 49 characters with $, and then the largest definition of most infinity factorial is the bank accounts, because having to write them out in full would require far, far too much compute power, because there's far, far more than infinity number of characters within each of those. The largest definition of most infinity factorial, if I written that in full, I suppose, will instead be having these bank accounts write them out as semantic bank accounts, which just written as $, the largest definition of infinity factorial, but rather than writing the word infinity, rather than writing the word factorial, you can instead use the exclamation mark at the end of the end of each bank balance. So rather than ending with factorial, you end it with the exclamation mark, because the exclamation mark is the mathematical symbol for factorial, which means, and with factorial, I suppose, meaning that you multiply all the numbers together from 1 up to the number. They all get multiplied together within the mathematical operation of factorial. So, so 1 Google equals 10 to the power of 100. 1 GOOGOLPLEX equals 1 Google equals 10 to the power of a Google, and 1 Google equals 10 to the power of 100. And factorial means you multiply all of the numbers from 1 up to the number all together. So 16 factorial equals 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5 times 6 times 7 times 8 times 9 times 10 times 11 times 12 times 13 times 14 times 15 times 16, which equals 2.0922789888 times 10 to the power of 13, which is a little more than 20.0 trillion. Now, I'm not talking about 16 factorial. We're talking about these bank accounts having each separately having the largest definition of most infinity factorial in the USD currency equivalent in your banking system, which will be each be a massive bank account balance, I suppose, with each of those bank balances being written as semantic bank accounts as the largest definition of most infinity factorial, which is written as $, the largest, which is written as $, the largest definition of most infinity, and then exclamation mark, because the exclamation mark is the mathematical symbol of factorial as a way to be saving compute time via turning 10 characters into 1 character, via instead of writing space factorial, you just write factorial exclamation mark. So this is going to be huge, I suppose I'm saying, and with Tulsi getting 50%, you getting 40%, 49%, and I get 1%, which I do think is fair, I suppose, because. So I do think this is fair, I suppose, because I really am creating an off the scales huge amounts of value beyond your wildest dreams, I suppose I'm saying, because most people would struggle to even make 10 billion US dollars, I suppose, but this is creating 200 Google bank accounts each and every second, each separately with the largest definition of most infinity factorial bank in the US dollar currency bank balance for each of those bank accounts. That's every second by your NVIDIA, by your 100 million US dollar NVIDIA AI. And it gets far better, I suppose, because I do want for you to now also be talking to your handler from New World Order, and to be having your handler then contact the New World Order to find out procedural knowledge for how to be purchasing a Apple iPhone 17 Pro Max phone from the New World state-of-the-art mobile telephone from the furthermost infinity universe into the far future, within a Apple iPhone 17 Pro Max case which can be hooked up to the New World Order information communication system, which enables for you to make telephone calls into the past from the present, enable for you to make telephone calls throughout the present, make telephone calls into the future from the present, because because it hooks up has your calendar hooked up to your telephone app, so you can access your calendar from your telephone app, so you can then make telephone calls via choosing the date and time of your telephone call from your calendar app within your telephone app, I suppose, when you make telephone calls, I suppose. And you also as well can be accessing the internet the evolution of the internet, I suppose, what it's called then, but being in the furthermost infinite universe, the far future, and also your New World Order handler can also find out for you the procedural knowledge for how you can purchase your your state-of-the-art computer system from the furthermost universe to the far future, each separately in Apple server cases of today. I think Apple may have discontinued the servers, I suppose, and possibly from when they used to have them, I suppose, in those Apple server cases of when Apple used to have Apple server cases, Apple servers, but it wouldn't be Apple servers in this Apple server case. It'd be your NVIDIA. It'll be your state-of-the-art computer systems from the furthermost infinite universe to the far future in those Apple computer server cases. So it's going to be huge, I suppose. With each of those Apple computer servers, I suppose, could possibly create something like the largest definition of most infinity factorial number of new bank account within the new order banking system, and possibly even every 100 trillionth of a second. Each of those bank accounts having a bank balance of the largest definition of most infinity factorial. That's those 41 characters, I suppose, the largest definition of most infinity factorial number of new bank balance, I suppose, per bank account, all created each and every 100 trillionth of a second. And you'd possibly be purchasing lots of those Apple iTunes, lots of those state-of-the-art computer. So there's those. Each of those state-of-the-art computer systems from the furthermost infinite universe to the far future, each creates every 100 trillionth of a second. So in the vicinity of that, I suppose, they create the largest definition of most infinity factorial number of new bank accounts from the new order banking system, each and every 100 trillionth of a second. They each have a bank balance of semantic bank balance of the largest definition of most infinity factorial. So that's those 41 characters for each semantic bank balance. And you can possibly even, I suppose, be hiring something like 100,000 buyer's agents, because buyer's agents are people who can make purchases for you on your behalf. So buyer's agents are a huge booming industry, I suppose. You could be having your buyer's agents to be each week, I suppose, to be contacting large office building, the owners of the body corporate, the owners of large office buildings within all cities, within all countries, I suppose I'm saying, be purchasing, be just approach them and say, we'll pay you something like 1,000 times the worth of the office building, or even more, I suppose, as a way to be provided they're able to settle and have everyone in the office building out within 1 week, I suppose I'm saying. They also want them to be giving you the floor plan of the office building immediately. I suppose you can pay them for the floor plan. And then you can be giving that to your architects, I suppose, who could then be creating in a file size which can be read by Amazon, the future generations of the future generation of Amazon.com in the furthermost infinite universe in the far future, I suppose. So I want to be uploading the architectural files of the floor plan with GPS location into the future generation, Amazon.com, in the furthermost infinite universe, into the far future, and to be uploading those floor plans, which has lots of different rows of aisles, lots of different rows of computer servers, floor to ceiling, which could be, say, 33 servers wide. Apple servers from Apple server case, I suppose, 33 servers wide per row of servers, and floor to ceiling, and that is within the GPS location of where the office building is, I suppose, and the location of each floor, I suppose, and how high up it is, I suppose, and all that stuff, I suppose I'm saying, so that you can upload those floor plans with the plans of where all the servers get time travel back in time. All Apple servers get time travel back in time into those servers, into those rows of servers, I suppose, with a small aisle between each, so that one person can walk comfortably through, I suppose, and I suppose so you can have Amazon from the furthermost in the far future to be then time travel back in time, all of those servers from within, which can be to fill, I suppose, 100,000 office buildings, I suppose, each week, I suppose, with your furthermost infinity universe state-of-the-art computer systems, I suppose, each in an Apple computer server case, I suppose I'm saying. So it's going to be a lot of money, I suppose. Off the scales, huge amounts of money to be creating, I suppose, to which Tulsi gets 50%, I suppose. You get 49%, and I get 1%. So I do think that this idea, I suppose, will be radically, and I mean radically, improving your wealth, I suppose. You could also as well even be calling yourself, say, 10 years into the past, I suppose, and possibly even tasking and also sending money back in time via the internet, via your bank account, back in time with your bank account in the past, I suppose. Here's the past, I suppose, for you to then be purchasing a heap of office buildings to be organised, for a heap of office buildings to be built, either in the past, I suppose, or even just maybe to start building them now, I suppose I'm saying, to be able to have a huge abundance of new office buildings globally being built, I suppose, which can then have a huge amount of these new office buildings which can be built, I suppose, to meet this huge demand for these office buildings, for you to be filling floor to ceiling in lots of different rows, I suppose, of these computer servers. You also want for Amazon, from the furthermost universe in the far future, I suppose, to be unboxing all of your computer servers and to be turning them on and to be assembling them into the rows of servers, I suppose, so they're all turned on and in rows, I suppose. And also I'm saying those computer servers, I suppose, will probably be having computer circuits which are far, far smaller than the largest definition of most infinity times smaller than quarks, I suppose. So your computer servers couldn't be run off standard electricity from the PowerPoint because electrons are far too big for those servers, I suppose. So instead, I suppose, be having put it in your rows of, so there will be lots of machines to be manifest the energy source, I suppose, to power those computer servers, which will use the special manifest to create those energy manifesting, which will be those energy manifesting devices, I suppose I'm saying, which will be far, far, far more than 100% efficient, so that they can provide far, far, far more money than the more energy they need to operate, I suppose. And then with the extra energy, which is a heap extra energy, I suppose, they then to power your servers, I suppose, power your computer systems, which are the state-of-the-art computer systems from the furthermost into the universe, into the far future, I suppose. There'll be a lot of those because you'll be organising to have your buyer's agents settle with everyone out of the office building within a week, I suppose, so you can then be having your Google, having your Amazon from the furthermost universe in the far future to then be turned back in time to, I suppose, to the precise time you transact and pay for, I suppose, it turned back in time to then, I suppose, to have all of your computer servers in rows, 33 computer servers wide, in rows, with a small aisle in between them, I suppose, floor to ceiling rows of computer servers, I suppose, within every level of your office building, except for the lobby and on the ground level, I suppose. And a whole new 100,000 number of new office buildings to fill with your computer servers each and every week, I suppose I'm saying. So we're making a lot of money. So I do think that probably buyer's agents will be a very, very big industry, I suppose. And also a big industry with security, I suppose, way of keeping all of these office buildings very, very secure, I suppose, by the very, very best security system, I suppose, because they'll be creating such a huge amount of wealth, I suppose, each and every 100 trillionth of a second, I suppose I'm saying. And also you could possibly you could either have it so that these state-of-the-art computer systems from the furthermost infinity universe into the far future, so you can have it so they possibly do hook up to the New World Order communications information system, I suppose, communication system, I suppose, with a very, very, very powerful internet speed, I'm saying, to be uploading all that information, I suppose, into the New World Order banking system each and every 100 trillionth of a second, I suppose. Or better still, you could possibly even create an agreement with TULSI, I suppose, so that your computer systems are able to become a direct component of TULSI's, the New World Order banking systems. They don't have to be uploading information to TULSI, the New World Order banking system, because they are a component of TULSI's New World Order banking system, owned by you, but still a component of TULSI's, the New World Order banking system, I suppose. It's a way of saving internet speed, I'm saying, because there'll be a lot of these new office buildings created with all these huge numbers of floor to ceiling on every level other than the lobby, ground level lobby, I suppose, with 33 rows, 33 computer servers wide, I suppose, for every row, with a small aisle in between each row, I suppose, to be added to the New World Order banking system each and every every week, I suppose. It's going to be huge. It's going to be a huge amount of extra wealth for yourself, for Tulsi, for yourself. And where Tulsi gets 50% of the wealth, I suppose, created by your computer systems every day. You get 49% of the wealth created by your computer system every day. And I get 1% of the wealth created by your computer system every day. So it's going to be huge, I suppose. I do think that this can be a great way for us to be having a lot of extra money to be pursuing good cause projects for good, I suppose, and also even for you to be investing heavily in your personal and professional development, I suppose. So Warren Buffett talks about the importance of personal and professional development. He talks about the importance of reading, I suppose. And I think Warren Buffett reads about 500 pages per day, I suppose. You invest a lot in reading, I suppose I'm saying. And other people like reading. Other people, impressive people read, say, 5 newspapers every day, I suppose I'm saying. So I do think that reading newspapers is important, I'm saying. But rather than reading it, you can even be having the New World Order mobile telephone, I suppose, to be uploading it to your mind, I suppose. So you could say, be uploading, say, 10,000 pages of information into your mind each day very high quality information to your mind each and every day, I suppose. Or better still, you could be uploading heaps of new training programs from the New World Order, uploading to your mind, I suppose, possibly every day, I suppose, I'm saying. And you could possibly even be having a powerful AI, I suppose, to be from the far future, I suppose, to be telling you, uploading, say, 10,000 pages of training which you might need to excel the most each day, I suppose I'm saying. So it's going to be huge, I suppose I'm saying. I do think, I suppose, you possibly also even be paying for yourself and your kids, I suppose, to be getting, say, the very best quality, off the scales perfection which redefines genetics. So you possibly be paying a huge amount of money, I suppose, to be having your kids' genetics to be perfected, I suppose, beyond your wildest dreams. Perfection of genetics, I suppose, to redefine perfection in genetics. And you can also be getting your IQ increased to an IQ of 100 Google IQ points, which is 10 to the power of 102 IQ points. Or you can possibly get an IQ increase to 100 GooglePlex IQ points, because 1 GooglePlex equals 10 to the power of a Google, and 1 Google equals 10 to the power of 100. Or you can possibly even get your IQ to even be increased to an IQ of possibly even infinity IQ points, I suppose, if you're able to work very hard with the powerful tech from the furthermost infinite universe, the far future. Possibly also as well be getting powerful special abilities, I'm saying, like, for instance, the special ability of time travel, the special ability of teleportation, the special ability of precognition, the special ability of telepathy, the special ability of mind meld. You can also be having the special ability of you also be having the special ability of superhuman strength and the special ability of dyslexia, I suppose, to be able to upload, to be able to be organising, I suppose, via your huge off-the-scales infinity amount of money which you create every 100 trillion, which your computer systems create every 100 trillionth of a second, I suppose. So I did promise, I suppose, that you'll be able to create infinity wealth, I suppose. However, I do like to massively exceed expectations. I do deem that I have done now, I suppose, because you won't just be creating infinity wealth in total, I suppose. You'll be creating far, 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 far more than infinity, the largest definition of most infinity factorial, each and every 100 trillion a second, I suppose, far, far, far more than, I suppose, because we're creating, because each of your computer systems, each of your state-of-the-art computer systems from the furthermost infinite universe to the far future will each be creating the largest definition of most infinity factorial number of new bank accounts each and every 100 trillionth of a second, each separately for you, each separately for TulsiGABBARD. I mean, it actually is 50% goes to TulsiGABBARD, 49% to you, and 1% to me, I suppose, with each of those bank accounts having a bank balance of the largest definition of most infinity factorial in the US dollar currency equivalent in the New World Order banking system, I suppose. This is going to be huge, I suppose, I'm saying, and be able to create a huge amount of wealth, I suppose, to be radically improving your quality of life, to be radically improving your quality of life, to be radically improving the quality of life of your family and your friends as you work hard to be massively upgrading your genetics and your family's genetics and lots of training programs that you would order uploaded to your mind and to your family's mind, and also even about uploading all of the best textbooks and newspapers to your mind each day, I suppose, but especially training programs. So it's going to be radically improving your quality of life, I suppose, because it's so important to not just settle for the genetics you were born with, but to seek to perfect your genetics and upload the very best New World Order training programs from the furthermost infinite universe to the far future into your mind with the very, very best font, I suppose. Each and every day, I suppose, I'm saying, also to be also uploading, as well as also to be radically improving your life and your family members' life, I suppose, via doing other things like, for instance, giving you and your family members very powerful abilities. So I hope this helps, because you're worth love always.